Imagine yourself in a dark forest, where the only light comes from a small and glowing firefly. This firefly, with its natural and unpretentious glow, attracts the attention of everyone around it. However, not everyone admires its light in the same way. There, hidden in the shadows, a snake observes the firefly with a mix of envy and resentment. Why does she, a creature so powerful and cunning, not possess this ability to shine? Driven by envy, the snake decides that if it can't shine, then no one else should. It begins to pursue the firefly with the sole purpose of extinguishing its light. The firefly, realizing the danger, starts to fly faster, trying to escape the snake's grasp. But the snake is persistent and continues the pursuit. Here, dear listener, lies a powerful metaphor for real life. How many times do we encounter snakes on our path? People who, driven by envy, try to dim our shine. It's a reality that many face, but the question is how to deal with it. The answer can be found in the philosophy of Stoicism. The Stoics believed that we should not worry about things outside our control, and the envy of others certainly falls into that category. Instead of letting it shake us, we should focus on maintaining our own glow, our integrity, and our values. Dealing with opposing people with intelligence and wisdom is crucial. Just like the firefly, we should not allow the darkness of others to extinguish our light. We must rise above envy, maintaining our tranquility and inner glow. Now I ask you, have you ever felt like the firefly, pursued by the envy of others? How did you deal with it? In this video, we will discuss the best ways to destroy your enemy without fighting, using only knowledge, making them seethe with rage just with your stance. Let's go. Intentionally ignoring. Now imagine yourself again in the skin of the firefly, facing the persistent pursuit of the snake. In this scenario, a crucial skill that the firefly needs to develop is intentionally ignoring. This means not paying attention to provocations, focusing on what really matters, and conserving your mental and emotional energy. Intentionally ignoring is not about indifference or passivity, but rather about wisely choosing where to direct your attention. It is recognizing that by focusing on the provocations, you are actually feeding the snake with your own energy. Instead, the firefly should continue to fly, shining its light and following its path, without being affected by attempts to dim its brightness. Applying this approach in our lives can be transformative. How many times do we get carried away by negative comments or toxic behaviors from other people? How many times do we spend our precious mental and emotional energy on situations that, in the end, do not deserve our attention? Learning to intentionally ignore is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. It is understanding that your inner peace is too valuable to be disturbed by external provocations. It is choosing to keep your light shining, even when others try to extinguish it. So how can you practice the act of intentionally ignoring in your life? How can you maintain your focus on what really matters, preserving your mental and emotional energy in the face of adversity? Remember, at every moment, you have the choice of where to direct your attention. Choose wisely and allow your light to shine even brighter, winning by using your head. Now let's elevate our perspective a bit more. Imagine that amidst the pursuit, the firefly begins to realize that brute force is not the only way to deal with the situation. Instead of exhausting itself in an endless flight, it decides to win by using its head. It begins to use its intelligence and creativity to resolve the conflict, avoiding direct confrontations and seeking peaceful and strategic solutions. This is a powerful principle that we can apply in our lives. Often we find ourselves in conflict situations, whether at work, in personal relationships, or even in internal matters. The instinctive approach may be to confront directly, using the strength of our will or emotion. However, this approach often leads to exhausting and sometimes destructive results. Winning by using your head means taking a step back and evaluating the situation calmly and clearly. It means seeking creative solutions that can satisfy all parties involved. It might mean finding common ground, or even turning an adversary into an ally. Imagine, for example, that the firefly finds a way to show the snake that its glow can be beneficial for both. Perhaps it illuminates a path that the snake couldn't see on its own, or maybe it attracts prey that is beneficial for the snake's diet. By doing this, the firefly not only avoids conflict, but also creates a situation where both win. Now reflect on the conflict situations in your life. How can you apply the approach of winning by using your head? How can you transform confrontations into opportunities for creative and peaceful solutions? Remember, true victory does not come from defeating others, but from finding paths that lead to harmony and mutual well-being. Win by using your head and see how the situations around you can transform in surprising ways. Turning adversaries into teachers. Now let's take another step in our journey of self-awareness and growth. Imagine that the firefly, in its newfound wisdom, begins to see the snake not just as an adversary, but as a teacher. It realizes that the challenges posed by the snake are actually opportunities for learning and personal growth. Instead of resenting the pursuit, it starts to be grateful for it, as each attempt to dim its glow only makes it stronger and more resilient. This is a powerful concept that we can apply in our lives. How many times do we see the challenges posed by others as insurmountable obstacles, as sources of frustration and resentment? But what if we changed our perspective? What if we started to see these challenges as opportunities to strengthen our virtues, to learn something new about ourselves and the world around us? Transforming adversaries into teachers is a practice that requires humility and openness. It requires the willingness to look beyond the surface of conflicts and see the lessons they can teach us. It could be the lesson of patience, compassion, resilience, or creativity. Now think about the challenges you face in your life. How can you transform these challenges into opportunities for learning? How can you use these experiences to strengthen your virtues and grow as a person? Remember, every adversary we encounter on our path can be a disguised teacher waiting to reveal something valuable to us. Face challenges with an open heart and a curious mind, and see how they can transform into steps for your personal growth. Recognizing that the enemy is not the cause of suffering, imagine that you are on a boat sailing through a rough sea. The waves are the circumstances of life, and sometimes they can be tumultuous and unpredictable. Now, think of yourself as the captain of that boat. You have the helm in your hands, and it is you who decides how to react to these waves. Now let's bring this metaphor to our reality. Often we face challenging situations, and it's easy to blame others or external circumstances for our suffering. However, the real issue is not what happens around us, but rather how we respond to it. Have you ever noticed that two people can face the same situation in completely different ways? While one despairs, the other may find an opportunity for growth. This shows us that suffering does not come from the actions of others or the situations themselves, but from the way we interpret and react to them. So how can we navigate these turbulent waters with more serenity? The first step is to recognize that we have the power to choose our reactions. Instead of reacting automatically, we can take a pause, breathe, and choose a more conscious and balanced response. Moreover, we can practice empathy and understand that, like us, others are also facing their own battles. This helps us develop compassion and realize that often people's actions are not personal, but rather reflections of their own internal struggles. By understanding that the true enemy is not the cause of our suffering, but rather the way we react, we can begin to transform our experiences of pain into opportunities for growth and self-awareness. And are you ready to take control of your boat and navigate with more wisdom through the waves of life? Choosing to be great by forgiving. Have you ever stopped to think about the transformative power of forgiveness? Forgiving is like opening the windows of a dark house and letting the sunlight in, illuminating every corner and dispelling the shadows of resentment. Forgiving does not mean forgetting what happened or justifying the actions of others. It is, in fact, an act of greatness, a choice we make to free ourselves from the anger and bitterness that can imprison us. When we forgive, we are not saying that what happened is okay, but we are choosing not to let it control our lives. Think of forgiveness as a gift you give yourself. It is a demonstration of strength and inner nobility, a decision not to allow the actions of others to dictate your emotional state. By forgiving, you free yourself from a heavy burden and make room for peace and serenity in your heart. But how do you forgive when the pain seems so deep? Start by acknowledging your feelings and allowing yourself to feel the pain without judgment. Understand that forgiveness is a process, and it may take time. Practice empathy, trying to see the situation from the other person's perspective, and above all, remember that forgiving is an act of self-love. By choosing to forgive, you choose to be great. You choose freedom over bitterness, light over darkness, and in that choice, you find a path to true inner peace. Are you ready to take that step toward greatness? If you've made it this far, I know you are strong and focused on your development. Please leave a comment to help spread this video to more people. Let's continue. Transforming relationships with enemies. Delving into the idea of transforming our relationships with adversaries through kindness, we can find inspiration in ancient Stoic philosophies. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, teach us to maintain serenity and act virtuously, regardless of external circumstances. A quote from Marcus Aurelius, one of the most celebrated Roman emperors and a Stoic philosopher, resonates strongly with this concept. The best way to avenge an enemy is not to be like him. These words encourage us not to stoop to the level of those who wish us harm, but rather to elevate our own standards of conduct. Another Stoic quote that can illuminate our path is from Epictetus, a Greek philosopher who reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This teaches us that, although we cannot control the actions of others, we have total dominion over how we respond to them. Choosing kindness in the face of adversity is a testament to our character and resilience. By integrating these Stoic teachings into our approach to dealing with enemies, we begin to see that true strength lies not in overcoming others, but in maintaining our integrity and compassion even in the face of challenges. Kindness becomes not just a strategy for transforming conflictual relationships, but also a path to our own evolution and personal growth. In summary, by adopting a stance of kindness and understanding, inspired by Stoic wisdom, we have the opportunity to transform not only our relationships with adversaries, but also ourselves. It's an invitation to cultivate inner peace and promote positive change in the world, one act of kindness at a time. If you're enjoying this, don't miss the opportunity. Get the ebook now, Stoicism in the 21st Century, Ancient Strategies for Modern Challenges, and unlock your prosperity, abundance, and improve your relationships with this ebook. Link in the pinned comment. Facing head-on, addressing adversities with courage and determination is a fundamental principle for maintaining integrity and promoting an environment of mutual respect. When faced with challenging situations or unacceptable behaviors, it's crucial to adopt a firm and direct stance. Facing problems head-on means not running away from difficulties, but confronting them with clarity and objectivity. This involves communicating assertively, setting clear boundaries, and expressing your expectations transparently. By doing so, you demonstrate self-confidence and respect for yourself and others. It's important, however, to distinguish between being firm and being aggressive. Firmness is about staying true to your values and principles, while aggression can lead to unnecessary conflicts and damage relationships. Therefore, the approach should be balanced, combining assertiveness with empathy and understanding. By facing problems head-on, you also set a precedent that unacceptable behaviors will not be tolerated. This contributes to creating a healthy and respectful environment where everyone is accountable for their actions and there is room for personal growth and development. Confronting adversities directly is an act of courage and integrity. It's about being true to yourself and others, promoting an environment of respect and dignity, focusing on oneself. Delving deeper into the idea of focusing on oneself, this approach invites us to prioritize our own development and well-being, maintaining a certain independence from others' opinions or recognition. It's a path that requires self-awareness, authenticity, and a constant dedication to personal growth. In this context, Stoic quotes offer valuable perspectives. One of them, attributed to Epictetus, says, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear foolish and stupid." This phrase reminds us of the importance of staying true to our path of personal development, even when it may seem contrary to the expectations or judgments of others. Another quote that resonates with this principle is from Marcus Aurelius. "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This encourages us to recognize that the source of true happiness and satisfaction lies within ourselves, not in external validations. When focusing on oneself, it is essential to cultivate an attitude of self-acceptance and compassion, acknowledging our own limitations and celebrating our achievements, regardless of how they are perceived by the outside world. This is a path that leads us to greater authenticity and a more fulfilling and meaningful life. By prioritizing our own development and well-being, inspired by Stoic teachings, we empower ourselves to live a life aligned with our deepest values and purposes. It's an invitation to look inward and cultivate a relationship of respect and self-love, which is reflected in all areas of our existence. The control is yours. Delving deeper into the idea of maintaining control over your emotions and reactions, this principle reminds us of the importance of preserving our inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. It's an invitation to develop emotional resilience and the ability to maintain serenity in the face of challenges. In this context, Stoic quotes offer valuable insights. One of them, from Epictetus, says, "It's not the events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them." This phrase encourages us to reflect on how our perceptions and judgments influence our emotional reactions and reminds us that we have the power to choose how we interpret and respond to situations. Another relevant quote is from Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This reinforces the idea that, although we cannot control everything that happens around us, we have complete dominion over how we handle our emotions and thoughts. By maintaining control over our emotions and reactions, we cultivate a solid foundation of balance and tranquility, which allows us to face adversities with greater clarity and wisdom. This is a path that leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the development of essential emotional skills for a fulfilling and accomplished life. In summary, by embracing the idea that the control is yours, inspired by Stoic teachings, we empower ourselves to navigate the uncertainties of life with more confidence and serenity. It's an invitation to cultivate a calm and resilient mind which sustains us through emotional storms and allows us to enjoy lasting peace. Remember the importance of not allowing the actions of others to disturb your tranquility. Cultivate an emotional fortress that allows you to maintain serenity. Regardless of external storms, I encourage you to reflect on your own capacity for personal transformation and evolution. Recognize the power that resides within you to shape your life according to your deepest values and aspirations. I invite you to watch another video about the power of calm, exploring the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Dive deeper into practices that can strengthen your resilience and promote a state of lasting tranquility. I encourage viewers to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and share the content with others. May you all be with the Creator.